I'm super grateful to see everyone in the comments as well, showing their support. And first and foremost, before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much, role model. And I know I heard you say that you're under a lot of stress, and I'm sorry to hear that. And I hope after today, some of your stress will be forgotten in the distance. So yeah, let's get this started.
I hope so too, EarthKind. Thank you so much. I know you mentioned you're excited. I want you to know I'm super excited too. Okay, you're one of the funniest guys on this app, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Let's get right into it because I want to know more about you, more about your life and stuff. I don't know if you know much about Exclusive Interview, but Exclusive Interview is a mini autobiography of your life. So
Right.
hopefully you can be as open and honest about your life as possible so we can learn more about you. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. If there is some things within the interview that you really don't want to go into detail on, it is okay for you to tell me that you don't really want to talk about it. Okay.
Sure.
No. All right. So let's start off. What made you join the app?
So what made me join the app was pure boredom. I was absolutely bored after my birthday in 2020, and I heard that there was going to be a lockdown happening, and I wanted to, see other ways of occupying my time. I was actually really excited about being isolated, and that excitement has now become an addiction. So I love the platform. I started off on POF, and I started off really small, really quiet, and anyone that knows me from day one, they would know that I don't think I've changed very much. I've probably changed my hairstyle. My hair's grown since then, but that's about it. Yeah, it's just pure boredom that started me off, and did love
So
for entertainment.
so pure boredom. If you could explain to me what you was doing the moment you decided to download POF. Now, have you always been on the same account?
Same account, yeah.
Okay. Was it something I know you mentioned since 2020? Was this
Right.
something you've been doing streaming consistently since 2020 or
Yep, consistently since 2020. So I've streamed so many personal moments in my life as well. I used to live in another apartment before this, and so I've been streaming pretty much every day. And back then I used to take breaks, and I used to come off the app. I used to be proud of myself for doing 18-hour streams, and it used to be quite exhausting back then. But
right?
then I've just gotten used to it. So I've streamed my old apartment shenanigans, and that's where I mastered that performance that you saw me do when I first came in and we introduced each other officially. And then I lived in a hotel for a year, and I tried to stay consistent with the sketchy Wi-Fi that hotels have.
Hmm.
And then then I moved into this apartment. I also sadly streamed my mum's entire funeral, and the process going from that up until today, my grieving process, my mental health process, and everything in between. So it has been 24/7 since over 304 days now, that I've been consistently on streams all day, every day. So
Got you. So since you've been streaming since 2020, you got on the app because of pure boredom. Why POF?
um, that's a good question as well, because I've never been lucky on dating sites ever, and I had broken up with my girlfriend that I had at the time, and she um you know I just downloaded the app. I just thought, let's find a platform where I could just mingle and just talk to people.
Hmm.
I had no intention of actually getting into dates with anyone, but I was just wanting to look for a back and forth conversation with someone or some people. And then I noticed that there's a live feature on here, and I was like, what is this about? So
Mm-hmm.
then I clicked on it, and then the first person that I went into was just sitting there, just doing her work or her coursework or something, and then every now and then I just wrote hi in the comments, and then she was literally sitting like this, and then she went, "Hi, EarthKind, how's your day?" And I was like, "Whoa, she's actually talking to me," and then she was like, "Oh, would you like to come in my box and talk to me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I came in her box and I had a little chat with her, and then she favorited me, and I was really nervous, and I think I made some excuse to leave the box because I was a little bit camera shy, and
Mm-hmm.
then she came into my stream, and then she dropped me my first 5 diamonds, and I was the happiest Larry you could ever find. you know, and I don't think my mum's ever seen me that excited before. I was jumping around. I was like, "Oh my god, my first 5 diamonds!" And then some other guy came in, and he was like, "You can make bounces if you want." And I was like, "What does that mean?" So I made him a bouncer. He told me how to make him a bouncer, so I made him a bouncer. And I've actually got a picture of me, my bouncer, and my first 5 diamond gifter. Her name's Abby. Shout out to her. And we met up together, had a meal, and then came home. And it was I thought this is amazing. Like I could do this forever. So I became hooked at that moment. I was like, a meet and greet is gonna happen again in the future. So
Let's
yeah.
go. Incredible, incredible, incredible. Uh, let's take it back. Let's
Hmm.
take it back. So here you are, you're on the app, and a lot of times we speak to our audience, but they don't know about our life and stuff like that. We don't get to dive deep in. I would like you to go as far back as you can remember. Let us know where you was born at, who you grew up with, how many siblings you had. Just give us a little bit of your back history.
Well, thank you for asking that. So I was born and bred in the UK. I was born in London, and I was adopted by my grandparents, and I have 2 siblings. I grew up in a broken home, and I was raised by uh, pensioners, and I've always been reminded that they're never going to be around forever, you know. And unfortunately, I experienced death at a very young age, um, and I experienced grief at a very young age. So the experience of loss is very much ingrained in me, and I think that's what shaped me. And funnily enough, not a lot of people really believe me when I say that Earthkind is my real name, and it was given to me because I was born on a day called Visaki, which is like the Sikh Christmas, you know. So that is something that has been that has stuck with me for years, and I've never really understood exactly what that meant until my grandparents passed away, because I used to be afraid and I used to get bullied for my name all the time. So I used to go by alias names, which I don't want to go by anymore. I want
Right.
to embrace my name fully in honor of my grandparents. And so, you know, my siblings are 2 older brothers and sisters that I love dearly. I'm the youngest. My father remarried, so I have like half siblings as well, which
Are you the youngest of how many siblings?
I'm the youngest of 3 biological siblings,
Okay.
and then I have extended family as well, half siblings too, but I don't talk to them, so we won't go there.
Right.
Um, and Yeah, I was raised in a very big family as well, so I have 8 uncles and 8 aunties. So I was raised by a huge family. So if I ever did anything wrong or if I acted out when I was a kid, I wouldn't just get told off by my grandmother. My grandmother would tell everyone, and I'll get told off by every single one of them. So I learnt discipline from a very young age. I learnt respect from a very young age, and I would like to believe that you know they would be proud of me at this point.
Yes. So so now tell us a little bit more about your situation of how you was adopted by Your grandmother.
Right.
Your grandparents.
My grandparents. Yeah. So when I was 2 years old, I remember my parents having a proper punch up in the living room, and
A proper what?
and a punch up. So they were having it out. They were really going for it with each other.
Oh, your parent. Okay.
Yeah, my parents. And I remember my mum picking up a knife in the kitchen and, attempting to stab herself. And I ran up to her and, uh, got in between her and the knife. And and then I remember, going to court, back and forth. My grandparents were trying to fight custody over me. My father met
How old
another
were
woman. Sorry.
About how old were you when this happened?
So this all started from the age of about 2 years old upwards. So when I was going through court custody, and attending court appearances, going to solicitors, from the age of around between 2, 5, and then upwards towards 11 years old. I just remember going into court, seeing solicitors, going to see the professional psychologists, and behavior experts, because I was struggling to figure out where I stand, and I was bashed around as well a little bit. I was left at people's houses to look after me that I didn't know who they were. So I never really had any stability growing up. Um,
I know.
uh,
Take your time. Take your time. Take your
and
time.
so it was really tough, trying to find my place, and I never really was around my brother and sister most of the time either, because they were 4 years older and 7 years older than me. So my grandparents had already adopted them, from a very young age as well, so they already had that place there. So I was the last one. My granddad loved me dearly, from the moment I was born. And it was tough because in that time that I was going to court, my father really wanted me to stay with him. He wanted to use me as some kind of trophy, or some kind of
Mm-hmm.
um, you know tool to kind of get back at the rest of the family, because he used to brainwash me to, fight against my brothers and sisters and my grandparents. I just remember like sitting in the car and driving to, because the courts used to tell my dad that you have to let him see his siblings, and so there was an arrangement every Friday that you've got to go to um, grandparents so that he can mingle with his siblings. And so I used to he used to tell me while we were driving there, like, don't get out the car, just roll your window down this much, and if they tell you to get out the car, stick your fingers up and swear at them and tell them to fuck off and all that kind of stuff. And used to
Yo,
brainwash me
crazy. I'm
to
like everything you're saying is what I'm going through.
I'm so sorry.
Except it's with my daughter that, I adopted her now. But it's like
Mm, it's tough. It's tough. That's gonna sit with her
I would
forever.
for her to hear your story so she can
Mm,
understand.
mm.
Thank you, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting,
No,
but it's hitting.
no, no.
It's
I'm
hitting.
sorry that that's still happening. And if I was to um, give any kind of advice or any kind of outlook on, what I think your daughter might need, or anyone that's going through what I went through, is just stay consistent with love. Love is so powerful that it can crumble that hatred, because that hatred is only temporary. As we get older, we're going to start seeing and start feeling, that love that we get from other people. And the one thing that I've realized is it's not what people say that sticks with you, it's how you make people feel that sticks with you, if that makes sense. Like, I can say some really mean things to you, right? But if you feel that it's coming from a place of love, right? No matter what I've said, that's not going to make a difference. It's about how you feel towards me, and how you feel after I've said it. It's that feeling that sticks with you more than the words. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So kids don't really understand how to express themselves. They want to please their parents. They want to please their elders. They want to be loved, because that's all they're coming from. They're coming from a perspective of innocence and pure joy.
Right.
I'm shaking while I'm saying this because it's bringing back a lot of emotion and a lot of
Yeah.
feelings.
And I know. And thank you for sharing.
You're
So
welcome.
let's bring it back. You said, your dad would tell you to stick your middle finger up.
Yeah, that was tough because I never really understood exactly how
Did,
to respond to that.
did you know what he was doing at the time? Did you know he was manipulating you? And
No,
did you
I
feel
had no idea.
what? Do you remember what you felt?
Yeah, I felt confusion. I felt the sense of like just I felt lost, you know, because a part of me, a big part of me, I wanted to get out of the car and I wanted to, mingle with my brother and sister, because I could see that they were happy to see me, because I was living in a household that was, just using me like, oh, go make some tea. Anytime a guest came over to the house, oh, Earth makes some really good tea. Go and make some tea. I don't know how to make tea, but I know now that, and I never drank, I don't like drinking tea, don't like drinking coffee, don't like making anyone drinks or serving anyone anything anymore because, like, anytime someone tells me go make a cup of tea, ooh, those moments of,
Yeah.
the passport come up. So, at the time, it was like they were just bigging me up. Oh, Earth makes such tasty tea. Oh, he'll go make us tea, and then I'm thinking, oh, these guys really like tea, and I don't know what I did. I probably tried very hard to kind of make the tea like not taste very nice either. I'd put extra sugar in there. Sometimes I wouldn't put sugar in there, but they'll be drinking it saying, this is so tasty. And I'm like, it's really not. But anyway, I started developing those behaviors to try and test the adults, and I learned that they were being unfaithful to me, so to speak. Um, and so yeah, I felt a lot of hurt and betrayal, and so when I would see my siblings and my grandparents, you would see their faces light up when I came to the driveway. I've never hardly ever come out of the house. I mean the car.
And when this,
Um,
about what age were you?
at that point, I was around uh 8 or 9 years old.
Got you.
And there was a few years until they adopted me. They adopted me when I started secondary school. So in the summer of me before starting secondary school, which was high school, um, that's when I actually moved in because
Wait,
I
during high school?
say that again.
They adopted you during high school?
No, they adopted me in the summer just before high school started. So that's when it
So you were
officially happened.
okay. That's when it officially, but you were under their custody, like foster care?
I was under my father's custody before that until because they were fighting for custody since I was two because they were trying to get me.
So
Um,
age of two till about what your father had custody of you.
I would say about 10 years old,
So 2 to 10, your father had
two
custody.
to 2 to 10. Yeah,
And was he allowing you to see your mom? Or you couldn't?
no, no. He used to turn me against my mum as well. My mum had all three of us taken away from her as a result of my father's actions. Um, and my mum, she ended up becoming unfit to look after us because she went crazy. She ended up going into a mental institution, ended up developing an alcohol addiction, um, potentially probably started doing hard drugs as well. Um, I say that because I once found a little pipe under my mum's couch, and I was like, "What is this?" And she was like, "Oh, it's one of my friends," but I never actually saw her doing any hard drugs. I just
Right.
mainly used to smell alcohol on her breath, you know. Um, but she was great at hiding it, you know. Um, eventually, that kind of took over, you know. She's no longer with us now. It's been 1,033 days since she passed away. Um, so, and funnily enough, my mum was super proud of me when I first started streaming as well. She was incredibly proud. Um, the funny thing is, she didn't have any social media. I set all of her social media up, and this is a really funny story. I was scrolling through the POF app, and
Mhm.
my my mum came up on the match or decline.
Oh, shoot.
So I hit the check button. Yeah, yeah, I matched up with her. So that was beautiful. That was a
Did you tell
beautiful
her?
moment.
Did you say,
Yeah, yeah, I
"Ma,
told
come"?
her, and I was like, "Mom, what are you doing on POF?" She was like, "I don't know. You set it up," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember." Yeah, but she was proud. She was very proud. She did have a POF account.
So, from to the age of 10, what happened and how did you end up with your grandparents? What was the situation that took place?
Right. So we went to the High Court, and one of the last court cases was a week prior to me making this decision because I learned that my dad lied about my age. He lied to the courts about my age because he wanted the courts to be able to give me some choice, and if I because I had to be a certain age in order for them to listen to anything that I said. I
Right.
think they lied to them. I think he lied to them saying that I was 13 when really I was 11 or 10. And when I learnt that, my it was my brother and my granddad that came to the courts on that day, and me and my brother used to, we sat outside the court playing with his watch, trying to, click the milliseconds to 99. Like how
Hmm.
quick is your finger? And I had fun, and my brother was asking me, "Oh, what do you want for your birthday?" And I was like, "I just want a remote control car. That's all I want." And he was like, "Okay, cool. I've got a skateboard at home. I've got a computer at home." And he was just like trying to get me excited to come and spend time with him as well. So I was like, "Do you know what? Maybe on Friday I'll come and see you." Without consulting with my dad, I just told my brother.
Right.
And so my brother went and told my granddad, who my granddad was standing across the courtyard of outside the court. And he wasn't coming anywhere near me because my obviously they had the conflict, over the years of, me telling him to put my fingers up and stuff. So he was like standing at a distance. My granddad spent all of his pension money trying to fight custody over me. Right? Never took a holiday in his life because of me. Um, and or because of my dad for that matter. Um, and so the word got around, and then the solicitor, in the courtroom, asked me, do you want to go see your grandparents and your siblings on Friday? And I said, yeah, I do. And my dad was like pinching my arm, like, no, don't. What are you saying? What are you doing? Why are you saying that? And I was like, no, I wanna go see them on Friday. Yeah, I don't mind. And I had school on Friday, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it was like I didn't care about school. I was just like, yeah, Friday. I just picked a day. It was just a random day that I picked, and so that's when it happened. And then just before the night before Friday, my dad said, you're gonna come to work with me in the morning, right? He's gonna take me to the shop with him because he had a dry cleaners. You're gonna come with me to the shop, and then you're gonna go see your siblings on Friday. And actually rewind slightly back as well. My dad was having an angina operation. Just came out of hospital, and I saw that, leading up to the Friday,
Hmm.
and he was fixing the bathroom sink, and I said to him, wouldn't it be better if I just went and lived with them, you know And he tried to talk me out of it, and he was like, because all I'm thinking is remote control car, computer, skateboard, and like fun times with my brother. And and then he was like, "Is that really what you want to do?" And I was like, "Yeah, like, why not?" And and then that night, or one of those nights before, he sat on the edge of my bed, promised me that he would buy me a motorbike, buy me a horse, and tried to kind of bribe me into, not wanting to go. And I was like, no, I still want to go see my brother and my grandparents, everyone on Friday. And he was like, okay, you're gonna come to the shop. And then we went to the shop, and I see my dad on the phone, sitting there, crying his eyes out, to his solicitor, saying, we need to close the case now. He wants to leave. And so he gets off the phone, and then we're sitting there. My brother turns up in the shop. We're sitting in front of my dad, and I will never forget these words. My dad said, just remember, um, never look back, never ever look back. You're dead to me, and I'm dead to you. So that never really left um my mind. I mean, um I've always remembered that. So every time I think of him, I always think about that. But when my mum died, um, a year after she passed away, I went to go see him, and I posted this on my Instagram as well. I went to go see him, and I knocked on the door, and the first thing that comes out of my dad's mouth is, "Who sent you here?" And I was like, "I've come to see who you are. I've come to meet you. I've come to get to know you." And he's like, "I don't want to see anyone." I was like, "Okay." Well, it was at that point where I realized, if this is the last time I'm ever going to see you, he's an old man. My mum's dead. You're the only living parent I have left. You really want me to leave? Let me tell you something about your current wife, you know? And I told him, I said, she molested me when I was 6 years old. When you used to go to the grocery store, she used to fiddle with me in the car. And he told me I'm talking shit. And then she came out and she started shouting at me. And this was all in his front garden. And then and they kicked me out. They kicked me out of their front yard. And I went home. I went home. I came home to this apartment crying. Um and I don't mean to turn this into a dark space, but I tried to kill myself a few times. Tried to drown myself, tried to stab myself. Um and I wanted to end my life, because, it was just really painful. So it was at that point in March last year, I um I had two panic attacks in this very room, um and I passed out on the floor, and I felt like I was having a heart attack, and it was at that point where I realized I can't be on my own. I cannot be on my own. So I started streaming 24/7, all day, every day. Um, and I've not had a panic attack that severe ever since. Um, and so I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful for the community. I'm grateful for the app. I'm grateful for, me being here. And I value every single moment. And I use my streams to create a safe space for anyone and everyone that's struggling with anything to come and express themselves freely. There's a space in my stream that you could do that. And here we are, 306 days or 305 days later, 24/7 streaming.
Wow. Your story is very, very powerful. I wanna clear some things up. At the age you were 10 years old, but you thought you was 13, correct?
Yeah,
And that's when you told your dad you wanted to go over there. He wound up getting pissed because you wanted to go over there, and you said, "Can I live over there?"
yeah.
He didn't try to talk you out of wanting to live over there. He just was like,
He did. He
he,
did. He tried to bribe me out.
he tried to.
Um,
But just one time? Was it or
It,
was it after you went over there and you had so did he actually take you over there and bring you back, or he just left you there?
well, he tried to bribe me out of it, but then when my brother came to see me on that day, and then after he said, "You're dead to me and I'm dead to you," that was the last time I ever got to actually sit there and speak to him. That was actually the last time I hugged him, believe it or not. Um, and when I walked out of that shop, I never really understood what "don't look back," you know, meant. I just thought, my head turns, and of course I'm gonna look back. Why not? I never really understood what that meant. But as I got older, "you're dead to me, I'm dead to you." As soon as my granddad passed away in year 2000, that's when I experienced death for the first time. And then I only had 4 years with my granddad. Um, so he was my savior. He is my savior. I love him to bits. Um, and that's
So
why I honor him.
4 years with him. Then you just grew up with your grandma. Is that
Grew
correct?
up, yep, grandma,
Great.
and then all of her children.
Got you. Tell me about school when you was with your actual parents, and then you're gonna go into the difference between when you was with your dad versus with your grandparents. How was school for you? With your
School was
with your
was difficult uh, because I was bashed around. I was moved around like so many times. I never really had a stable school. So from the age of 2 all the way up until just before high school, I never actually stayed in one place. So I must have joined like multiple different schools at that time. So I never really had any stability. I always felt like I was new in the class. I was a new boy. I used to get bullied for being the new boy as well. And, so yeah, I can't really say too much about school because I don't remember it because I was, you know, being looked after by random people that I didn't even know. And then I was going to schools for the first time, uh, every so often. Like as soon as I feel like I'm getting settled, like, oh, pull him out of school. We're moving, and we're gonna go stay with this person, you know. And so it was never really stable, never really consistent. So I never really um got a chance to remember or get memories of those years of school. It was really stressful. I do remember, my mum, you know, trying to come and see me at these schools and her having, you know, bad mental health and you know um alcohol on her breath, and she had a boyfriend that was abusive towards her. So I remember fights happening there too. um but yeah, I don't really have much memory of like
the school
school.
life. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you started living with your grandparents, what was some of the changes that you seen? What was like some of the significant difference between living with your pop?
Consistency, stability. Like every single day without fail, I'll be having my Weetabix and taking a banana and eating that to the bus stop to go to school. Like coming home and having food on the plate on the table.
Mm.
Having a bed to sleep in. That was the biggest thing because I never really had a bed to sleep in before. And I never had my own wardrobe, so I was always like living out of my suitcase or my backpack. So that was the major thing. And so that really, and then going to the temple every Sunday, um and actually being able to go back to the same house,
Mm.
every single night, and having a place, and they never really made me forget that they love me. And they also, this is another powerful thing, they also never refused me if I wanted to see my father or my mother. They always told me that no matter what you do, right, he's always going to be your dad. If you ever want to go see him, you go see him, right? And she's never going to be anyone else but your mother. If you want to go see her, go see her, And so they would encourage me to have relationships with my parents, but it was my father that didn't want a relationship with me. But my mother, she was so broken, and she never really left the house after that. So I used to have to go see her. There were a couple of times where she would come and see me. There's one time when she came to see me outside school, my secondary school, um, and my high school, sorry, and she witnessed, and she never stopped telling this story, but she witnessed me walking out of school with like a group of girls, and I've always been surrounded by loads of women my whole life, surrounded by strong, independent women, but she would always tell everyone that, oh, I saw you. One girl was holding your blazer. One girl was counting your change. Because I used to want to call my mum from the payphone and have, so one girl was ca- um, counting my change. One girl was carrying my bag. The other girl was just like trotting along behind me, and she that was a proud moment for my mum because she thought, oh, my son, he's surrounded by all these beautiful, beautiful girls. Um, so I became a hairdresser after that, and I used to do my mum's hair all the time, and I used to focus mainly on females' hair because I was surrounded by them. So why not help them to boost their confidence? And you know, I wanted to be around them all the time. Not because I was trying to be seedy or anything like that. Like it was
Right.
purely because I just get along with everyone, but I value and they value being around me too. So um, I absolutely love that and I adore that. Um, I've lost the question. That
Okay.
was a good memory.
So tell me this, because you did mention your mom's one of the things she always talk about is you being around all women, and you was walking outside with all of these women. What is when did you experience your first crush?
My first crush. Um, does Jessica Alba count? Because that was that was my first crush. Um, yeah, Jessica Alba was my first crush, and I think that was when I was what, maybe 14, 15 years old.
What
You
you watch?
know, I can't remember. I think I must have seen a poster of her, or maybe I can't remember exactly how I saw her. But when I saw her, yeah, I think that was the love at first sight. I think it was because she had curly hair, and
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
she
you probably seen the cover of her new movie, Honey.
probably, yeah, it might have been, it
I
might have been that.
feel like you did because she had the curly hair with the black little. She was
Yeah,
like this.
yeah,
So
might have been that.
Jessica Alba. Um, how bad was this? How serious was this crush?
It wasn't that serious. I mean,
Okay, did you
I
have time?
no, I've never really no, because I lived with my grandparents, right? I never really had that private time. My room door, my I never had a lock on my door. I never had privacy. So yeah. So those kind of activities are not really something that I indulge in. Even now as well, like I completely refrain from stuff like that. But
I'm not gonna do
yeah. No, but I've always been quite disciplined. I'm quite
it.
proud of myself for that. I was celibate for a long time, and I do value my celibacy. I see it as energy.
Yeah.
Energy that could be used in a more productive way. Like, because I was raised by my grandparents, like my brother would always say to me as well, like, don't don't spunk your life away. That's what he would always say. My cousins would say that as well, and I'd be like, I never really understood what that meant either. But until when I figured that out, when I learned what that word meant, then I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not gonna do that anyway.
So let me ask you this:
Yeah.
when living with your grandparents, was there a moment where you wanted to look back and go back with your dad? Were there moments that you questioned them about going to visit your dad? Was that something that you wanted to do as a child? Because I know sometimes we say, "Hey, we want to go live here," and then when we live there, and like when as a kid, when things don't go your way, you're like, "Oh, I should have just stayed there." Did you have moments like that?
I did. I did. I had multiple moments like that, and I would use my bike to go ride and go see him. And every time I would go see him, either I used to go to see him at his shop most of the time, and that was really far away. But there were a few times where I would just ride up to his house where I knew where he lived. And there was one time when I walked in. In fact, I was standing outside the house, and someone opened the front door, and I was like, "Oh, shit, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do now?" And then they invited me in, and it was odd because I didn't understand what was going on. Right? They just gave me a whole bunch of money, right, and then told me to leave. And I was like, I didn't come here for like. As I left, I was like, I didn't actually go there for the money. Right? What am I gonna do with all of this money? Right?
Yeah,
I
but how?
went there to go see him. I don't know. I mean, I must have bought football stickers with it. I don't know. It must have been about 20, 30 pounds, which is maybe about 40, $50.
Okay.
Um, and so, I left feeling like I don't want the money. I want to spend time with him. But then when I used to go to the shop and see him at the shop, he used to be busy all the time. He would hardly ever like give me any time of day. um and I would always feel I'd always leave feeling like a little bit empty and a little bit like confused, like, really, does he really love me? But I kept on giving him a chance. I kept on going there. And then when he moved house, right, and I went back to the house, and I stood outside the house again, thinking someone's going to open the door, but the car was different, the house looked different. Like the neighbor came out from her house and said, "Oh, Earth, you're here. Your dad moved a couple of months ago." And I was like, "Where did he move to?" And then she was like, "We don't know. He just moved." And so then I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna ride to the shop, right? See if he's still got the shop. So I went to the shop, and then I went there, and I asked him. I said, "You moved, but why didn't you tell me you moved?" And he said another thing. He goes, "Even if I was dead and buried, I wouldn't even tell you where my grave was." And so, I was like, all right, that's just him being mean, just him being like an asshole, like he's always been. So I thought, I didn't think much of it. I thought he's just hurting. And I'm getting older at this point, you know. I'm about 13, 14 years old at this point. Actually, I'm about 13 years old, yeah. Because my granddad was still alive. And so I went back home to my grandparents and I told them, and they were disappointed that he said that. But they still said, he's always going to be your dad, no matter what. So if you still want to go see him, go see him. But I was reluctant to go see him as frequently as I was. Um,
Right.
so I made my own decision to kind of start taking a little step back and just focusing on myself. Because every time I went there, it would really hurt me and it would put me out for weeks,
Yeah.
emotionally.
Feel like it changed your behavior at your grandparents' house because of
Yeah,
those and stuff?
big time.
Did you know at the time it was changing your behavior?
Um, I did feel it changing me. Um, I did feel a lot of, and I started getting angry. I started becoming a bit of an angry kid. You know, and then feeling like, if no one cares about me, then I might as well start, you know, giving them a reason to not like me. You know, so yeah, I used to do some horrible things. Not just to myself, but to others as well. And I always felt guilty for doing it to others as well because I thought, yeah, maybe that person doesn't deserve that, or and then I started targeting people that I felt like did deserve it, you know. Um, so then I started compartmentalizing, part whatever. There's a word for it, I would build up my anger for particular types of people, ones that did me wrong, and I would lash out and you know,
Mhm.
be violent and abusive towards them. but I'm not a violent person. I'm a rubbish violent. I'm a terrible violent.
Donna Donna asks, how did you express your anger?
Um, I would ride my bike. I would punch walls. I would take walks. I would shout and scream. In open fields. Um, I would indulge in activities that made other people happy. So I would try
Such
to, sorry,
such as
such as hairdressing, photography, just making people laugh, attending people's birthday parties, and being like the clown or the entertainment of
like
the show. Yeah, and I try to make people laugh, try to make people smile, and that's really that's where I started finding joy again, because if I can make someone smile, eventually they'll make me smile because I'm actually getting pleasure out of seeing them smile, even if it's making a fool of myself and they laugh. I don't care whether they laugh with me or at me. The fact is that they're laughing. Whether they're getting joy, from my pain, right? Fine, cool, good. I, I'm glad you're getting joy, but eventually you would acknowledge where that joy is coming from, what those intentions are, how you're going to take that emotion and use it for the greater or the worse. So, you know, if I can make someone's muscles move in their face and their lungs and their stomach like bounce up and down of joy like a Buddha, you know, it makes me laugh. It makes me happy.
so let's get in a little bit into school, a little bit more about school. How was your grades?
Terrible. I had bad grades, but my effort grades were high.
What
You
does that
know,
grades?
so there's two different grades. So my attendance was spot on. My contribution to the class was always spot on. So my effort to participate in class was
Okay.
always good. But getting down and dirty on the paper and putting words on paper and answering like questions without any assistance and help and stuff, like that was difficult. I wasn't very intellectual in that sense, but I was, my effort was up there, so I would always be the first one to put my hand up, even if it was a wrong question, wrong answer. At least I got my hand up, I participated. um so my effort grades were on point, but my actual academic grades were low.
Gotcha. Do you recall your first girlfriend? Well, what is your status?
Single.
Single. Okay. And is women only, correct? Oh,
Women only, yeah.
okay. So, do you recall your first girlfriend? What
I
age?
do. I was 17, and she was turning 17 as well at the time, and I met her um applying to come and study at my school, and she was the most beautiful thing. She looked like Alicia Keys. And I absolutely loved her. She had that curly hair, she had that beautiful, shaped face, those
Yeah,
beautiful eyes.
here, yeah.
Oh, mate, if she's married and she's got children now, but I would, I would, I would still love to share a drink or a meal with her again. Out of just pure respect in old times. I've still got a lot of love for every single one of my exes, apart from one or two, you
Mm.
know, that deliberately put themselves out to hurt me. But I have a lot of love for everyone that I've shared love and compassion with as well. So
So, tell us how it happened. Tell us how you guys began talking. You seen her. What exactly went down that allowed you to be able to call her your girlfriend?
So she was applying for my school, and I went and sat next to her in the sixth form year base, and uh, I just sat there and I was like, oh, do you want any help filling that application form out? And she was like, no, I'm fine, I'm cool. And I was like, here's my number, call me, because back then we had pay as you go phones. You had to actually,
Mhm.
and it wasn't color screen or anything, no WhatsApp, no nothing. Here's my phone number, call me after school. And she didn't, but yeah, I waited for her after school that day because I knew she was going to come out, and I said, can I walk you home? And she was like, no. And I was like, why? She was like, I just live up the road. And I was like, yeah, let me just walk you halfway, and so I walked her halfway. She was so nervous, and so was I. But I was like, "What's the worst that can happen?" This girl
Mhm.
is like gonna walk home on her own. So, we and ever since then, because I used to be a workaholic as well, so I used to constantly work. Indulge myself in my career. I had two jobs. Working in a hairdresser's and a bike shop. And so she was. I left school after that term, so I didn't stay in sixth form with her. I left because I wanted to work and earn money, and so I only had Mondays off, right? So Mondays she would have school, and I would go and meet her on Mondays and walk home with her. Would hold hands and sometimes just walk side by side and just walk to school. But that happened for about a year and a half. We never kissed, we never did anything else. We sometimes would go to the cinema together. If she was lying to her parents that she was going to be at school on Monday and she had free lessons.
To
Then
at school and go to the movies.
we'll go to the movies.
Were
Yeah.
you official then?
Say that again.
Was your official like boyfriend and girlfriend then, or
Yeah, yeah, it was official. We used to, and because there was so many days between us that we couldn't meet each other. I used to record tapes. I don't know if anyone remembers what tapes are back in the day, right? But I used to record tapes, like
okay.
love tapes to her, and just be like, "Oh, I love you so much. Last week was so nice. Maybe this week we can hold hands, like almost more than halfway. you know, that kind of stuff." And and then she would like write some, like record some back to me as well, and it was super romantic. And back then I used to be able to text on my phone while my hand was in my pocket. I could still text her because I just knew. Yeah, back then we had skills back then, man. um but yeah, then
Right? You
say that
said
again.
it's a called the messaging T9 word where you
That's
just press
right.
the numbers, but you was able to make complete sentences.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to spell something out, you got to press the same button two or three times to get the right letter. Yeah. And I used to be a master at that. I used to text really fast. Uh, but yeah, ever since touchscreen, it's difficult to do now. And
hmm
autocorrect, autocorrect messes everyone up these days. So yeah, it was really really nice. It was romantic. The first year we didn't do anything. We were pretty much very like controlled and shy. And then the 2 years after that, we still didn't see each other that often. Um, but then she went to college. She went to university. She applied to go to university, and then I found out from one of my school friends that she's cheating on me. So yeah. So then it was at that point I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like, of course she's gonna cheat on me because I'm always working, um, and she lives with her parents, and she probably wants to move on to other things, and so she did, and I'm really
What
happy
was your
for her.
first job? Like, don't
My
have to say exactly what you did if you're uncomfortable with it, but like, what was you doing?
my first job was working in a dry cleaners, um, earning £15 a week, which is probably about 25 $30 a week. Um,
Got you.
yeah,
So your dad owned a dry cleaners.
but I didn't work at his. I worked at it was my cousin's husband. So it was his shop. So my brother-in-law, right? It was my brother-in-law's dry cleaners that I I used to work in. Yeah,
Got you. So let's bring it a little bit up to speed.
yeah.
Um, what do you do now? Well, do you have any kids?
I don't have any kids. Never been married. I don't have any desire to have any kids, and I don't have any desire to get married.
What was your longest relationship?
About 5 years.
And what happened? What was the story with that relationship? What
She wanted
was the fall?
she wanted me to convert into a different religion, because she was ashamed of introducing me to her parents, because I'm not of the religion she wanted me to be. So, and I'm not the type of guy that wants to convert into any religion,
Right.
like I'm quite happy to be myself. Um, and it was, yeah, it was because of that. That's why we broke up. Her brother gave me an ultimatum. He was like, "You either lie to our parents and say that you are this religion, or you convert into this religion, um, or you break up." Right? And I was like, "Well, why don't we have a fourth option and let me meet your parents, and then if they like me, then we'll take it from there." Um, but that wasn't an option for him.
Where were you born? Were you born? You were born in London. You was born and raised in
Yeah,
London.
yeah, in the
Okay.
heart of London. Yeah.
Parents
My
were they
parents,
raised in London as well?
so my parents were born in Kenya, and my mom was in India. My dad was in Kenya.
Got you. Wow.
Mm.
How did they meet? Where did they meet at? Did they both like wind up migrating
They
to
actually met in the UK. They met over here. Uh, they had a lot of. So my dad was like a manager of a big company. And my mum, she was young. She wanted to be an air hostess, and she had a bit of an argument with her parents, and she decided to take a long walk. And my dad saw her. He was driving his big fancy car, and then he saw my mum on the side of the road and was like, why does this woman look so sad?" So he picked her up, took her to his brother's house, and then obviously she told her story about her parents and not letting her be an air hostess. They wanted to marry her off to a guy in India, and then she was like, "Well, why have we even come to this country if you're just going to marry me off and send me back to our home country? Like, what's the point?"
right?
And so she had a bit of an issue with that because she wouldn't be able to study or anything. So yeah, so my dad picked her up, and they had an agreement that maybe if we get married, then you can go study, you can do whatever you want to do, and yeah, my dad kind of gave her a little lifeline, but then quickly took that away from her.
Hmm. What was one of the moments before we go into that? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to exclusive interview. If you are here right now, we are giving an exclusive interview to EarthKind. If you have any questions for EarthKind, you may start to line up in the box, okay, and prepare your questions, or you can copy and paste it in the comments. All right. So, EarthKind, tell me one of the greatest moments you remembered, like maybe something you accomplished, or about yourself that you remembered. What was one of your greatest?
Um, my greatest moments was actually traveling to India with my grandmother. It was one of the last trips that she ever had, and we went to the Himalayas. We traveled to Delhi. We went to Agra. We went to Chandigarh. We went to basically toured around India for 3 months, and it was a massive eye opener. We went into the mountains, like we were driving and like um, traveling through clouds. One of the greatest moments. The scenery, the views were incredible. That gave me my traveling bug. Where I wanted to start traveling, um, and it was phenomenal. 3 months with my grandmother, to see her face light up and her whole aura just change. Like she was just as if she was the queen of India. She was just like, "Yo, do this and do that," and it was amazing. She was best basically in her element, and to see that, it was amazing. It was really, really amazing. That's my
What is
question.
the what would you say was the worst moment for you? Or your
Oh,
rock
the worst.
your rock bottom?
The rock bottom was when my mum passed away. That has been the rock bottom. Uh, and I'm picking myself up from that. Um, because my mum is a really happy person, really happy, super full of joy. And she wouldn't want me to be dwelling. But the thing is, I I don't dwell on it too much, but it helps when I see angel numbers. It helps when I dream about her. It helps when I feel her presence. So even though it was the worst time ever, um, she is everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Mm.
Um, so I take that to heart, and I spot the angel numbers all the time.
What do you love most about yourself?
That's a that's a really good question. The most I love about myself, um, is that it's the thing that I love the most and the thing that I hate the most as well. It is the fact that I I feel like I give I give too much. I feel like I love so much that it can backfire. You know, um, and I feel like I love that about myself because a lot of people, we all need love, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I also hate it because not everyone you know gives it back. But it's not about giving it back. It's about just taking it and just like appreciating it rather than you know thinking that there's any ulterior motive to it. But I love the fact that I'm very forgiving as well. Um, and I love everything that's happened, good or bad, in my entire life. You know,
Why?
and that's what shaped me because it shaped me. It shaped me, and it reminds me. And this is why I still have my broken tooth. I had a car accident in 2008, and I had a car accident, and fractured one of my ribs, and I can get it fixed if I want. You know, but every time I smile, it reminds me that your happiness comes from pain and suffering. And the only way you're going to grow is if you go through challenges in life, and success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. That is one of the things that has carried me throughout my entire life. you know Without enthusiasm you will never succeed. You have to fail, you know in order to, like the light bulb never was invented in one take. Movie scenes were never, done in one take. It would be a miracle. It would be, you have to have great experience in order for movies or actors or things to happen through one take. But failure is where you succeed because you learn from them. you know you have to learn from them. If you make the same mistake over and over again, then you might be a little bit stupid. You might to analyze where you're going wrong, right? But if you can like adjust yourself and learn from your mistakes, then it's a powerful thing. And I think I love that about myself because I'm aware of that. I like to think I am anyway.
Gotcha. What do you do now for work?
So at the moment, I do multiple things. I do multiple things, and I also do pretty much nothing. I stream all day, every day. I'm actually quite blessed to be able to be talented in many different fields. So at the moment, I'm a mentor. So I help people to transition from their normal lifestyle into a more plant-based, healthier lifestyle. I'm also a photographer, a videographer, and I also work with my family as well, my brother. in the entertainment industry as well. So um, I don't really do much, but I also do some stuff on the side as well. Um, I get myself tied into a few things here and there, but most of what I do is all self-employed, and I'm currently doing a lot of mentoring. So I've had projects that still pay me off,
Okay.
that I've worked with in the past. So I'm quite blessed to have those projects.
You mentioned earlier that you're a hairstylist.
Yeah.
Now, when you say hairstyle, are you a barber or do you do women's hair like you do washing sets or you braid? What exactly do you do when you say you're a hairstylist?
Right. So I used to be I used to be a hairstylist. I'm retired now. So don't come at me, guys.
That's
But
cool. I'm not gonna lie. I had our homeboy, God rest his soul, but
mm,
he used to braid my hair, and he learned how to
mm,
braid because he spent many years in jail. But that
right.
was a hustle. He made a lot of money braiding people's hair.
Right. And you can make a lot of money. And I'm a hairstylist, so I focused more on female hairdos. And so I would basically do the cuts. Sometimes I would do the colors. I tried to get away from the coloring side of things because it just got messy. But the cut and blow dries and the hair treatments, that's mainly what I used to specialize in, and I was very good at it. It made me be able to go mobile as well, and
Mhm.
I had a lot of clients. And one of the things that I'm actually quite proud of is the fact that it's bittersweet. Every time I left a company or a salon, all those clients would follow me to my next company, and then the company previous would end up losing money and then closing down. Right, so bittersweet. Um, so yeah, I used to be very good at it, and very proud of my work ethic, and very very proud of my clientele and my success in that department as well.
What are your goals for the future?
That question is beautiful. I absolutely love that question. My goals for the future is to be a. I know it's going to sound, cliche, maybe cringy, but I really want to be a streamer. I want to be a full-time streamer. I want to be here entertaining people. I want to be on a platform where I could grow a community of people, where we have a space to express ourselves, to learn from each other, to grow and improve ourselves, to share our success and our failures, to basically go from nothing to something, and above and beyond, a roller coaster of rides. I want there to be a space and a community of like-minded people that can all come together and just learn how to appreciate one another, learn patience, you
Mm.
know, um, and learn to be able to love each other. 'Cause one thing about love is that, when we have family members that we really don't get along with, right? It teaches us to love because we're forced to love them, right? Because they're part of our DNA. But
Mhm.
then when you've got complete strangers, right, that you end up loving, you've got a choice to love them. You could choose to love these people. So I choose to love complete strangers unconditionally, you know, um, because I can't do that with my family because they constantly push back, constantly put you down, constantly, you know, telling you that you're nothing. But then with people, strangers, you get a little bit of an appreciation. You see those smiles on their faces. If you don't see their smiles, you see them progressing in life and you see them doing better. So I appreciate haters, you know. I try giving them a chance as well because, without them, this world would be pretty boring. They are actually quite entertaining. Keyboard warriors are actually pretty fun to deal with sometimes. So I've got a thick skin now, I think. Um, and I just want to express that, to everyone. And I want the world to be a better place overall. That's what I see for the future. I mean, I want that for the future, not just for myself, but for everyone else.
I like that. And I'm be honest with you, Earth. I see Royal Badge EarthKind coming real soon. Okay, I definitely believe in your craft and everything that you're doing on the app. I really do admire you and your story. Thank you for sharing that with us. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just getting here, if you've been here for a while, you know we just finished, well, almost coming to the ending of our interview with EarthKind. If you have any questions, you may begin to ask them in the comments right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so so much,
So let me
everyone.
ask you this, EarthKind, while they prepare their questions. You said
Sure.
you've been streaming since 2020. I'm noticing your diamond count is 2 milli. So this is
Yes.
2 milli since 2020.
Right.
Okay. Y'all heard that, guys? We got to get his numbers up there, y'all. Okay.
Thank
We
you.
going we got to get him to 5 mil so that way he could definitely get his
Thank you.
royal badge, y'all.
Thank you so much. I
For
I just hit my my 2 milli as well.
in
So
here, please do me the honors and hit EarthKind with a favorite. Okay, so that way we can get him to 5,000 faves.
thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much.
much.
What's been your happiest moment since streaming? From LG. That question comes from LG in the comments.
Thank you, LG. The happiest moment since streaming is there's so many. I'm grateful for absolutely every single one of my supporters. I'm grateful for the connections that I've made. I'm grateful for just having consistent people coming in, checking in on me all day, hanging out with me all day. Oh, that's such a beautiful gift as well. Look at that. That is so beautiful. Yo, run it up. I get excited when I see that. That
That
is
was
beautiful.
somebody sent that to you.
Thank that to me. No
Yeah.
way. Thank you so much. Yo, big up yourself. Wait, yo, big up yourself. Yo, thank you, thank you.
You welcome.
Thank you so much. That's my first ever one. That's amazing. I'm actually really.
Now
Whew,
that's
what,
first personal
what was the question? That I think that one was that's the that answered your question. That is the greatest moment ever since that's it. That's the moment right there.
gift.
What the? Woo.
Any other questions for EarthKind? Y'all put it in the comments or you can hit the plus sign and ask him in the box. Please keep it to one or two minimum questions. Guys, remember, I am the host. You are not. Donna, do you have any questions for EarthKind? And ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, please don't go anywhere. Prime time will be up next.
Uh, Questions. My first question is you mentioned mentoring. Uh,
Yes.
who did you mentor and how did you get into mentoring?
Good question. Thank you for that as well. Who did I mentor? They are just the normal, general public, that have got the desire to transition their life into, first and foremost, it was my family members, my sister, my mother. I had to work on them first, and how I got into mentoring was because people wanted to change their lives. People wanted to get better. People had medical conditions. People had depression. People had issues that the pharmaceutical industries weren't being able to fix. And by no means am I a medical expert, but what I try to remind people and to teach people is the basic um, fundamentals of natural foods. So
Mm.
it's really intermediate level basic knowledge of just fruit and vegetables. A plant-based diet, can go a long way when it comes to health. The prevention is better than the cure. We got to understand what we're putting in our bodies. So
Right.
from that, it just grew.
Okay. Gotcha. And I don't know if you touched on this, probably I missed it, but how was your relationship with your dad before he passed?
What he did touch on that was it wasn't good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. and he's still alive as well.
Oh,
He's my only person,
Yeah.
only parent alive. But I don't know if he will pass away and if I will ever. Well, he probably will, but I don't know if I will ever find that out unless I dig for that information.
okay, I apologize.
I'm sorry, it was his mom that passed away.
Oh, okay.
And that was around COVID.
Yeah, that was 1,033 or 34 days ago. Yeah,
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay.
you're welcome. Thank you for the question.
Any other questions from the audience? Nah, bro, looking like Blossom. Stop it. My lady asks, have you met anyone you're interested in on this app
Um,
other
am
than
I interested? I mean, I am interested in a lot of people, but romantically, you talk about romantically. There might be a few people, but I have reservations. I'm very like reserved. Um, so the type of person that I am is that I don't chase, people. I don't try to, woo anyone into being with me. Like I'm the kind of person that, if you like me, if you want to be with me, then the stars will line up and they'll come together. So, if anyone wants to be with me, they will probably choke me and be like, I want to be with you, then I might consider it. But I'm not the type of person to kind of like jump into anything. Romantically blindly, if that makes any sense. But thank you for that question. I really appreciate that.
the next question comes from Miss B. She said, does he eat ass?
Yes.
The next question, or should I say statement, come from Joe Best, and it reads, I'll choke you, Earth. You cute.
What?
I don't know if that was sexy, but is there any
Thank
real
you.
questions right now?
I appreciate
All
that.
right. Brian asks, who is your favorite supporter?
Oh, Brian and
Love
role
it.
model. No, obviously role model, but Brian has been there as well. Like Brian is, he's come into my stream very recently, and he has shown me so much love. He's the one that hit me to my 2 milli. He's the one that took my 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, and 2 milli. So yeah, big round of applause to Brian as well. And obviously you as well, role model. You are a big it's like a big part of my streaming career now as well, because I do remember you started around the same sort of time I did too, I believe.
Yeah.
And you have been there all the time, and you're admired. You really are, and I really do admire your work ethic as well, and your consistency, and how far you've come too. So you're definitely a household name, so to speak. You know,
Yes.
so thank you for being present as well. I really
Thank-
appreciate you.
One of my last questions to you, Earth, is what is your sign? When is your birthday?
April the 13th.
April the 13th.
So that makes me an Aries. Yeah.
What makes you as humble as you are right now?
Uh, pain and suffering. Pain and suffering. That's the best way that I can answer that. You know.
If there was someone who went through what you went through,
hmm
what would you say to them?
Uh, pain and suffering is temporary. You know, and life is all about pain and suffering. In order for us to grow, right, we need to go through challenges, right? And challenges are assigned to us um, based on what we are able to overcome, right? There is no challenge on this planet that you will face that you will not be able to overcome. So no matter how dark the room is, no matter how deep your pain goes. You will and can overcome it, because it is trying to shape you into the person that you need to become. Not who you want to become, who
Mhm.
you need to become. Because every single one of us is incredibly important. We have a voice, we have a presence, we are alive. We can make the changes that we want to see in this world. We can all be the change we want to see in this world. That is the advice that I can give anyone um, that is listening today. And thank you.
Thank you. My last question to you is, how did opening up to me make you feel?
Vulnerable and heard and appreciated and loved, and I'm gonna remember this for forever. You know, um, and I really truly, and I don't say this like just because I'm saying it. Like, I truly am so grateful for you. You've changed a lot in not just my life, but you've changed the app. You've changed the course. You've changed the way people see streaming. And opening up to you, uh, I've probably opened up more to you than I have in my own streams. But you've asked some great questions that has allowed that opening to happen. So thank you so much, and I'm gonna be here for you. If there's anything that I can ever do for you, role model, please reach out to me and let me know. Because if I can help you in any way, alleviate some of the stress that you may be going through, then I'm all for it. I am really, truly meaning that from all parts of my soul. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, as
Thank
well.
thank you, EarthKind, and I'm gonna take you up on that offer now.
Please
Uh,
do.
You
Yeah,
get a phone call on Instagram. It would
I'm
be
there.
just wanting you to share your story with someone. Or I hope Medusa's here. I might not have to do that if I can just show her the recording of it, Medusa. So I hope you are in here recording. Just put a one in the comments if you are and let me know you are here. EarthCon, you are definitely a gem. Okay, you are
Thank you.
definitely someone. The Beast introduced me to you, and I was like, oh,
Big
I
up to
like
the
this
beast.
guy. And you know what? The first time you came to my stream, I couldn't even remember your name. I liked you so
Yeah,
much. I put up a video. I don't know if you've seen it, but I
I
put
did. I've
up a
seen it.
video, and it was just, I didn't even need words. And that's, to me, that's how good you are.
Thank you.
No, I
Thank you
did.
so much.
Your actions spoke louder than your words.
Thank you so
So
much. And I'm
keep it
so
up, man.
grateful.
I guarantee you, I listen, if you need any coaching and stuff like that on how to be a better streamer and stuff like that, and you're already doing the right things to grow your stream, you're coming in here, you're doing the show. Okay, just keep doing it, and I'm gonna make sure you get to where you need to be.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much, bro.
y'all,
Thank
ladies
you
and
so much.
gentlemen, give it up for EarthKind. Is there anything you want to plug in before leaving? Is there anything you want to tell us about? Maybe you have some events coming up that you would like to share with us. Please take this time
Absolutely.
to do so.
So I have, as you know, I've hit my 2 milli. So this Saturday on the 27th of April, UK time 7 p.m., Eastern time 2 p.m., uh, 11 a.m. in Arizona, and Western Australia 3 a.m. Sunday morning. I'm having a 2 milli theme party on my stream. I would be super, super grateful if you can just spare a minute of your time just to come in.
What date is it?
And it's on the 27th of April. So this Saturday coming up. So this Saturday, a 2 milli.
27th. I'm traveling out. I'm going on
Right.
vacation. Birthday, okay? By the way,
Yeah.
happy belated birthday to you.
Yeah.
All right, but
Thank you.
but that's not the day I actually leave, but it's the day I want to get closer to New York. So
Right.
still traveling that day, okay? But
Absolutely. No problem.
I'll be up in there, okay, with some more role model gifts.
Yeah. I love it.
All right,
And
Earth.
I want to also
Love
wish you a happy birthday as well for your birthday too. So I really do appreciate the 4th of May, guys. Make sure you What are you doing actually for your 4th of May birthday?
We're
You don't
going to
mind?
Barbados. And then I'm also doing a stream. I'm not sure if they discussed the time. That's between
Right.
China. It's a surprise to me, you know?
I
So
love it.
I'm not sure if you reached out to Kim Kai, Joe Best,
I
who are
did.
admins. Um,
Yeah.
as well as I have a bunch of admins in here. Medusa's one of them, but Kim Kai is the one handling. If you want to
Yeah.
send her a video, just
I
express it.
will.
Birthday, we talking? Okay, cool, cool, cool.
Yep.
She'll let
And
you know.
also, can I put the M in my name?
EarthKind, I'm not trying to cry right now. Okay, you gotta calm down. Okay, EarthKind, come on now, man.
Thank
This
you.
is
Thank
what
you. Thank you. Thank you. I have been meaning to ask you that for a while now. So Beast, thank you for
EarthKind.
reminding me.
Yes, you can, and thank you for asking. Okay, but
Thank you
I
so
adore
much.
you. You most certainly can. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do.
Thank
I
you
do
so
want to
so much.
say this.
Yes.
The M is not for anybody else but me. So whether you get into, how the app could be sometimes, I don't.
Hmm.
Sometimes some people will put the M in their name, and because they got a problem with somebody else with an M in their name, they choose to take it out.
Right.
I don't want you to put the M in there for nobody else. I mean, we are family still, but
Hmm.
always remember the reason why you put it in there.
No worries. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for granting me that. I really do appreciate that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, EarthKind, y'all. EarthKind, give it up for EarthKind.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
thank you, Earth.
Amazing.
Right,
Thank you
I'm gonna
so
take
much.
you
I
out the
really
box.
appreciate you all. All right. Perfect.
Thank you.